Next item, resolution determining trustee position vacant.
I guess I'll make that motion
Okay, motion made by trustee Ramirez-Lewinsky,
for discussion.
we're waiting for a second. Still waiting for a second.
You ought to know you're not going to get one.
It dies.
You already made your speech, and so we don't want to hear it again, to be real honest with you.
So it
So you're not going to get a second.
dies for lack of a second. It dies for,
I understand, trustee Sigwalt.
well, how long are you gonna wait? I'm just asking a question. How long are you gonna wait?
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting for a second. Still waiting for a second.
Attorney Rhodes, is there any time limit on how long you have to wait before a motion dies for lack of a second? Or are we gonna sit here till midnight?
There's no time limit. The board has the right to make a motion as it does in all other instances.
Okay, is there any procedure that we can do to end this?
And the waiting, you mean?
Yes. Yes, end the waiting and move on. I'm glad you think this is funny.
It
I
is,
don't think it's
Not
funny.
you. Yeah.
He's laughing too.
it's ridiculous is what it
He's
is.
laughing.
It's not funny, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if the board determines that the time limit for making a motion is done, someone can make a motion to determine that there has been no second and move on to the
Okay.
next item.
I'll make that motion that there has been no second, ample time has been given, and it dies for lack of a second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay,
Can I say something?
no, because there was no second.
They just had a second, so now
Well, they
we
just,
discuss
On a
that.
motion to move forward, not on the original motion.
You can discuss the motion to move forward.
yeah. You know, I would just add to that, and you know,
Call the question.
we're not calling the question, we're talking about this, this matter here because
Call the question.
He's got a right to call the question.
he's got a right to call the question, but I'm just saying that, I also have a right to respond.
No, you don't have a right to do what's not legal. This has not been seconded, which
What's not
shouldn't be any
legal is what this
discussion.
board does every
There was no
every
second.
2 weeks.
There's
And-
no
There was a
discussion.
second. There was a second.
There was a second to can this thing.
And move on.
Not to backdoor
That may have been
discuss
what
it.
your interpretation was of the second, but that's not what the second was.
Really? I did the
Yes.
seconding, and I seconded trustee Sigwald's motion to, that.
To move on.
Die for a lack of a second, so we were moving on. So
Yes.
that's what the second was. The second was
And
not
we're
for initial.
discussing,
Well, and-
the lack of a second.
We had discussion by trustee Ramirez-Lewinsky. We got our lecture. Now, trustee Humfer called the question. He has every right to call the question. And Robert's Rules of Order is when you call the question,
not-
there is no more discussion.
We're not
You call
operating
the
under
vote.
Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh, because it's convenient to you now?
No, because we have our own rules.
Wait. Trustee Sardo is correct. We don't operate under Robert's rules, but
President.
our rules,
President Sardo, thank you.
I'm sorry, President Sardo, but our rules do indicate that when you call the question, that issue is non-debatable.
Right. It ends
So you
discussion.
do have to, under your rules, call for the vote. The vote is to determine whether or not there's been sufficient debate on the issue of determining that there's been no second.
Thank you for the clarification, Attorney Rhodes. The question's been called.
That's just more of the same stuff, when they don't want to hear what other people have to say.
No
They
debate.
shut
We don't
off
want
the
debate, do we,
It's
in
okay
this
when
town?
they do it, and
We
when
don't want
nobody
debate
else
in this
does
town.
it, it's okay.
Only when it suits certain people do we have debate in this town.
The question has been called.
Yeah, the question has been called, all right. The question is, why are you people sitting on this board? That's the question.
The question has been called. We need to take the vote.
No, the question is, why are you people sitting on this board? Who do you represent in this community? That's the question. Who do you represent?
I guess we're sitting on here to make sure you don't ramrod everything you want.
Ramrod?
Yes.
Ramrod?
Absolutely.
Ramrod?
Absolutely.
Trustee Ritter, you are, I hate to say this.
Thank you, Ed.
I really hate to say
Oh,
this.
you won't hate to say it. You'll love saying it. Go ahead,
No,
insult me.
I really hate to say this because you should be a person, especially a school teacher.
Right,
who
all right,
should be
call my
should-
employment into
who should
question
be
now.
concerned about the standards of this community.
Bill, I've listened to your lectures all
Oh,
night.
yeah, I
We've
know you've
spent an
listened to
hour
my
of tonight
lectures.
listening to you
Yeah,
lecture us.
unfortunately, nothing ever sinks into any of you people.
I think that we already are waiting for Quaronta actions that you requested from the state's attorney's
Yeah,
office.
don't worry, they will happen, believe me. So whether you guys
Well,
want
why
to
are
take
we
care of
being
this,
preemptive
or
of-
somebody else is going to do it, we
The
could
question's been
clean our
called.
own house as we ought to do, but oh no, not this town, not this board, not these people.
If there was a
I hope the
recall
voters out there
ordinance,
are
you'd
watching.
be gone, Bill,
I hope
and
the
that'd be the
voters
end
are
of it.
out there watching this, because they're gonna see what kind of representation they have on this board.
If
And
there
It
was
is
a recall,
disgusting.
And President
It is
Sardo,
you'd be
disgusting.
gone, Bill.
President Sardo, the
We're tired
voters,
of you.
President
You're gone.
Sardo, the voters
I'll take the
also,
96-6 vote every day of the week.
they also know of the double standard where your police report says you threatened to kill your wife, and this is misdemeanor. Now,
I
let's
was not
move on.
charged with anything,
move
Trustee
on.
Sigwalt.
That's all
I was
right.
not
Let's
charged.
move
I was
on.
not charged with
The
anything.
question's been called.
And don't you ever defame me
The
in public,
question's been
unless
called.
you
It's
want to
okay
be,
for you to defame
unless you
me.
want to talk to my attorney.
Oh, please, it's okay for you to defame us, though.
No, I'm not
The
defaming
question
you.
has been called.
You guys are a
As senior
disgrace,
trustee, do
all
I
of
have the
you,
right to
from the
ask the
convict
court-
at the end
Terry.
to the woman whose
Terry.
son had sex with the convict's wife. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a town.